Avoidable betrayal, avoidable letdown, avoidable losses. In the vibrant city of Lagos, Jide and Amaka lived what seemed to be the perfect life. Jide, a senior executive at a bank, and Amaka, a successful fashion entrepreneur, had built a beautiful family with 2 children, Tommy and Zara. They had a beautiful home and appeared to have everything. But beneath the surface, things were beginning to change. Jide, who was once attentive and present, began to distance himself from his family. He stayed later at work, spent more time on his phone, and became less interested in family dinners and school events. Amaka, though confused by his change in behavior, tried to stay positive. Amaka began to notice small things. The late nights, the frequent excuses, and the occasional coldness in Jide's responses. He was no longer the man who once came home excited to share his day with her. Their conversations became fewer, and their arguments became more frequent. Late at night, while Jide claimed to be working, Amaka would sit by the window waiting, hoping he would walk through the door and bring back the warmth of their early marriage. But every time the door opened, it was Jide with tired excuse. "I am so tired," he would say. He used to be different. Amaka was just thinking, this Jide used to be different. He used to care. What has happened to my Jide? What is really going on? Jide has changed. Amaka continued talking to herself. "I try to keep up appearances. I try to believe him when he says it is work. But what if it's something more? What if it's not me anymore? What if there's another woman? A lady in his office? I don't know. But God forbid, Sha. Not my portion, oh. I didn't come to Lagos to marry and lose my husband to demonic ladies." Jide, meanwhile, had started an affair with Kemi, a young marketing executive. It started innocently though, with compliments at work and shared laughter over lunch. But soon their relationship became more. Kemi was young, beautiful, and seemed to understand Jide's frustrations at work. Every time Jide was with her, he felt alive again. He felt like he was the man he used to be before life's responsibilities began to weigh him down. But even though he enjoyed the thrill, he knew what he was doing was wrong. He tried to compartmentalize everything, telling himself that he could manage both. Kemi, however, wanted more. She was tired of being the secret. She was tired of hiding their relationship from the world. She began to pressure Jide, asking when he was going to leave his wife and make their relationship official. But Jide wasn't ready. He wasn't ready to tear apart his family. The guilt was beginning to weigh him down. Still, Kemi didn't care about his excuses. She wanted Jide, all of him, and was no longer satisfied with being the other woman. She no longer wanted to share Jide with anyone. Back at home, Amaka noticed Jide's growing distractions. He was glued to his phone at dinner, staying out later than ever. The warmth that once existed between them had been replaced by silence. Amaka tried to address it, but every time she brought up her concerns, Jide brushed them aside, brushed them off. Yes, Jide brushed them off with intriguing ease. Then one day, she found it, an unfamiliar earring in Jide's car. Amaka's heart sank. She tried to rationalize it. Maybe it belonged to a colleague or a friend. But her mind couldn't stop racing. Who owns this earring? And how did it drop in my Jide's car? Amaka asked herself, What if it's true? What if he's seen someone else? What if there's another woman in his life, really? With the love we share? Can he really do it? Okay, but I am restless. Something is wrong somewhere. I'm just restless. Late at night, Jide was glued to his phone, texting Kemi. He knew he was playing with fire, but he couldn't stop. The affair had consumed him. Meanwhile, Amaka, though asleep beside him, was filled with dread, uncommon fear. She could feel the growing distance, but she wasn't ready to confront the truth. She lacked the emotional stamina to discuss this troubling issue. Amaka had once been sure of her marriage. She had been sure that Jide loved her, but now she wasn't so sure. The signs were all there. The late nights, the distracted conversations, the coldness. She wanted to ask him, but she was afraid of the answer. Terribly afraid. Everything changed one Saturday afternoon. Amaka had taken the children to a birthday party, and Jide thought he had the house to himself. He invited Kemi over, thinking he had more time before Amaka returned. They laughed and lounged in the home Jide shared with Amaka. But Amaka came home early. When she opened the door and saw them together, her world crumbled. The world collapsed around her. The man she had loved, trusted, and built a life with had betrayed her. But instead of screaming or confronting them, she simply turned around and left. Amaka had an inner turmoil. How could Jide do this to us? How could he do this to our relationship, our marriage, our friendship, our family? It's like the world collapsed for real around Amaka. Jide was left alone in the house that night, consumed with guilt. He knew he had lost something precious. He called Amaka repeatedly, leaving countless voicemails filled with apologies, but she didn't respond. She didn't return home that night, leaving Jide to confront the depth of his betrayal. The kids are at her sister's house with her. Amaka stayed with her sister for the next few days, torn between her love for Jide and the pain of betrayal. She couldn't bring herself to speak to him. How could the man she loved betray her like that? She replayed their life together in her mind, wondering where it all went wrong. Amaka had internal wars within her. I loved him. I trusted him. How could he destroy everything we built? How? Jide tried to move on, but the weight of his actions haunted him. Word spread quickly about the affair. His reputation at work suffered as colleagues whispered about his personal life. He could feel his world slipping away. Every day he tried to reach out to Amaka, but her silence was deafening. A real thunderous silence. Jide also had his own internal debates. I've lost everything. My family, my reputation. Was it worth it? Jide asked himself. Weeks passed, and Amaka finally agreed to meet Jide. They sat in a quiet restaurant. The weight of the unspoken was hanging between them. Jide apologized, sincerely admitting his mistakes. But Amaka wasn't sure if forgiveness was possible. They talked for hours about the past, the betrayal, and what the future held. Jide promised to do anything to fix things. But Amaka, would life ever be the same again? Yes, Jide had made promises to Amaka, promises to mend their marriage, promises to be the father his children needed. But deep inside, there was a big battle raging, and those promises were already cracking. His defiance started growing. Jide became more stubborn, insisting that his new life with Kemi was something he had to maintain. He went to Amaka and said, "Amaka, Kemi is pregnant. I can't just walk away. You need to understand." Understand? Amaka said, "You promised to fix things with us, Jide, but all I see is you drifting further away." With her pregnancy, Kemi has grown more demanding, and Jide, overwhelmed by guilt and obligation, had already bought her an apartment. It seemed like the start of a new chapter, a new song, and a long journey. Ebun's birth was supposed to be a fresh start, but Kemi wanted more. Kemi spoke to Jide. This apartment is really small. Ebun deserves the best, Jide. You know that now. A few years have gone by, and on the same day that Ebun turned 5, Zara, Jide's first daughter, with Amaka, was graduating as the best student of her class. Torn between his two daughters, Jide made a choice that left a mark. Zara asked her mom, Why didn't Daddy come? Why did he not come? He promised." That day, Zara's heart broke a little more, as Jide's presence at Ebun's birthday overshadowed her greatest moment. Kemi was never satisfied. She wanted more, and more was never enough. "Jide, we need something bigger. Ebun deserves the best," ever demanding Kemi told Jide. And Jide, torn between his obligations, began to crumble under the weight of it all. One day he was having a drink with some of his friends, and his friends saw his struggle. So they devised a plan, a way to test the two women in his life. One of them said, "Pretend you have been sacked from your job. Tell them all your accounts have been frozen, that there was some fraud, and that you need $10,000 for medical treatment abroad. And then see who really cares." You women, let us see. Jide promptly agreed, and so the test began. So he went to Kemi, and he told Kemi that he was broke. His accounts were frozen, and he needed money to go for urgent medical treatment abroad. Kemi was clearly indifferent. She said, "You can't stay here, Jide. You need to be at home resting." Her reaction was cold, dismissive. She didn't want him around, especially now that he had nothing to offer. Side chick. When Jide told Amaka, her reaction was one of love and loyalty. Amaka said, "Whatever you need, Jide, we'll get through this together." Amaka, without hesitation, stood by him, ready to help him in any way she could, and gave him a check for $10,000. This simple test was beginning to give Jide some ideas. He decided to check out if Ebun was really his daughter by doing a DNA test. But then came the biggest shock. A DNA test for Ebun revealed the unthinkable. She wasn't Jide's daughter. His world, which was already crumbling, was now in pieces. He stormed into Kemi's apartment, holding the DNA test results. Ebun isn't mine. You've lied to me all this whole time. All this while you've been lying to me. Kemi coldly said, "So what? You will still take care of us." But Jide had seen through her. Kemi's greed was all-consuming, and he knew now that she was only in it for herself. Jide was angry and embarrassed. He wanted to recover the apartment he bought for Kemi. Within a few days, he took 2 men to the apartment, only to discover that Kemi was no longer there. She had sold the apartment and disappeared into thin air. The test had revealed more than Jide expected. Kemi's greed was exposed, but Amaka's loyalty stood firm. And in the end, Jide rediscovered the love he thought he had lost. The chapter with Kemi was finally closed, and for the first time, Jide felt free to move forward with his family after losing so much. The apartment cost millions of naira. Some lessons come with pain, but the truth, once revealed and accepted, makes you free. What did Jide have to go through so much pain and losses and shame before coming back to his family? He has read stories on such women who are ready to steal them away, snatch them away from their faithful wives. He has heard. How did he think his own case would be different? He lost so much in this whole saga. Wow, Jide. One simple definition of madness is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It cannot work. What advice do you have for people like Jide, who think when they flirt or have side chicks, they could get away with it, and then their family will still be intact? What advice do you have for such men? Yeah, what advice do you have for champion side chick, Kemi? What advice do you have for ladies like that? And for Amaka, the faithful wife, what advice would you give her? Thank you so very much. Please let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please encourage us to roll out more African folk tales, more African real life stories by giving this video a thumbs up, and also subscribe to our channel if you haven't already done so. Yes, please remember to click the bell icon so you would be among the first to know when we upload another very interesting story video. And please share our story videos with your friends and family. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being there for us. This is African Folk Tales ChinChin. Till our next video, remain truly amazing. Goodbye.